Chapter 6, Ancient Maya and the Calendar. At the next display, the class sees headdresses and clay pottery. They also see two large circles that fit together like gears. Dr. Jones asked, "Does anyone know what ancient community was in Central America?" Lucy says, "Oh, I have been to a pyramid somewhere in Central America. It was built by the Mayan people." "That is correct," says Dr. Jones. "The ancient Mayan people lived in Central America in parts of Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and Guatemala. People lived there as much as 4,000 years ago." The ancient Mayan people lived in Central America in parts of Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and Guatemala. That pyramid built by the Mayans is very important. There are 4 sides to the pyramid with 91 steps on each side. The top is the final step. That makes a total of 365 steps. And that is the same number as the amount of days in a year, says Dr. Jones. And the ancient Mayan people were one of the first groups of people to make a 365-day calendar. They made the calendar about 2,100 years ago. It had the same number of days that we have on calendars we use today. The Mayan calendar was made in a different way and didn't look the same. It was made in the shape of a circle. That circle fits together with the other 2 circle calendars they used. The ancient Mayan people watched the stars to make the calendar. They used the calendar to know when to plant and harvest crops. We learn about their crops and culture from how they used the calendar, says Dr. Jones. So the Mayan calendar was a positive change for that community, says Brent. Today, we still use the calendar to keep track of important events, appointments, and holidays. We still plant crops for food based on the time of year. We have digital calendars that can send us messages to remind us to do things too, says Dr. Jones. So you see, says Dr. Jones, learning about items used in the past sure does help us today. We can take what the ancient people created and use the ideas to help us today. Question number 1. Ancient Maya was in blank. You can find that answer on page 48. On page 48, it lists some countries that the Mayan people lived, but what was the name of the area where the Mayans lived? It's 2 words. Number 2, people built a blank. It was actually the Mayans that built this. What did the Mayans build? That is on page 49. Number 3, there are 365 days in a blank. You will also find that on page 49. There are 365 days in a blank. Number 4, they use the blank to plant food. You will find this answer on page 51. They used the blank to plant food. Number 5, things from the blank can help us today. This answer is on page 53. Things from the blank can help us today. This is the page that we always do independently. pause the video and work on this page independently. Question number 1. At the next display, the class sees headdresses and blank. You will find this answer on page 47. At the next display, the class sees headdresses and blank. Question number 2. The pyramid built by the blank is very important. Who were the people who built the pyramid? You will find this on page 49. Number 3. The blank Mayan people were one of the first groups of people to make a 365-day calendar. The blank Mayan people were one of the first groups of people to make a 365-day calendar. You will find this answer on page 50. This answer is also a vocab word. Question number 4. The Mayan calendar has the same number of days that we have on calendars we use blank. The Mayan calendar has the same number of days that we have on calendars we use blank. This answer is also found on page 50. Number 5. The Mayan calendar is made in the shape of a blank. This answer is also found on page 50. The Mayan calendar is made in the shape of a blank. Question number 6. What did the Mayan people watch to make the calendar? A. Water, B. Stars, or C. Movie? What did the Mayan people watch to make the calendar? Water, stars, or movie? Question number 7. What can we learn about the Mayans from how they used a calendar? A. Culture, B. TV, or C. Plumbing? What can we learn about the Mayans from how they used a calendar? Culture, TV, or plumbing? Question number 8. What type of change did the calendar bring for the Mayans? A. No change, B. Positive, or C. Negative? What type of change did the calendar bring for the Mayans? A. No change, B. Positive, or C. Negative? Question number 9. What do we use a calendar for today? A. We write down recipes, B. We hang a calendar on the wall, or C. We keep track of important events. What do we use a calendar for today? We write down recipes, we hang a calendar on the wall, or we keep track of important events. Number 10. How can digital calendars help us today? A. They send us messages to remind us of events. B. They teach us how to draw pictures. Or C. They solve math problems. How can digital calendars help us today? They send messages to remind us of events. They teach us how to draw pictures. Or they solve math problems.